We are going to be making a podcast. But what is a podcast? To put it simply, a podcast is a kind of show, like a radio or TV show. For us, a podcast is going to allow us to tell our stories, just like people have been doing for thousands of years. Anyone can start a podcast. And podcasts can be listened to on devices like the iPod. We've been working on our personal narratives for a little while now. We have revised our paper for ideas, organization, and word choice. Then we had a friend find mistakes to edit our papers. So our podcast is going to help tell our stories. How about we call it a digital story? In fact, we are going to be digital storytellers. To start, we need to collect images. These can be pictures from your camera, images from the internet, or drawings you created using software like Paint. But wait, we can't just use random pictures unrelated to our story. No, these images need to be visual representations that relate to the meaning of the story. What? Basically, I mean the images should match or go along with your story. Start by just thinking and listing picture ideas that will fit with the order of your story. For instance, if your story is about snow sports, have snow, gloves, skis, and other snow-related pictures. It's kind of like creating a digital picture book, but we will read our writing into a microphone. So before we get started, let's make a new folder on the desktop. Then we could save all our images in a folder with your name on it. Right-click anywhere on the desktop, but not on an icon. Click New and click a folder. It will then create a new folder to rename with your name. Next, let's go to Google and click on Images. Just for an example, I searched thumbs up. Then I click the blue search button. After that, images should appear for the keyword you searched. When you find a good picture, right-click on the picture. And when a menu pops up, choose Save Image As. Sometimes it says Save Picture As. When the Save As window pops up, name the picture and click Save in the folder we made on the desktop. Here comes the fun stuff. It's time to open Photo Story 3, and we are beginning a new story on the first day, so click Begin a New Story, then click the Next button at the bottom. Next, we need to get all our pictures we collected for our story. To do this, we will click where the red arrow is pointing. It says Import Pictures. Like it says in the picture, first click the pictures you want and then click OK. The next thing to do is remove all the black borders around your pictures. The red arrow is pointing to this step. If you need to, you can change the order of the pictures with the left to right arrows and change other effects on the pictures where the red arrow is pointing. Try not to spend too much time on this step though. If you click the Next button, Photo Story 3 will allow you to add a title to your pictures, but it's not necessary. This might waste your time, but you could also add effects to your picture. This slide shows how I used the negative effect, which changed black to white and white to black. This is probably a great time to save your project. Your pictures look good and the order is correct. Click the Save Project box where the red arrow is pointing. When the Save As window pops up, click where your folder was saved. Next, type the title of your story and click Save. Once the pictures look good and you save the project, click the Next button at the bottom again. When you are ready, press the Record button and read into the microphone, but make sure it is fairly quiet near you. Then, click the arrow button to go to the next picture. We will basically just read and record the different parts of our writing that go with each picture. Here is a fancy part to be like a director. click the Customize Motion button under the picture. A lot of options will display, and you can preview the transitions from one picture to the next. When you are happy with your choice, click Save and Close. How about a little background music? Of course, you don't have to use background music, but some fun music might set the mood for a happy-go-lucky story. On the other hand, some slow classical music might set the tone for a sad story. So far, we have been working on creating an organized digital story. It's time to make the final podcast for playback. First, click the computer button where the red arrow is pointing. Next, click where the blue arrow is pointing. The Browse button will show where the final project will save. Click the Save Project for a backup, and finally click the Next button at the bottom. I have a question for you. What have we been watching this entire time? Yep, this little presentation has been a podcast teaching you how to make a podcast using Photo Story 3. Wow, that's like far out, man. It's like one of those Russian dolls. It's a podcast about podcast. Wow. Remember that thumbs up picture I was searching? I think Chuck Norris agrees with me when I say, great job paying attention. Now it's your turn to try your own podcast. It's easy enough, it will just take some effort. Be creative and do your best.